Hello, everybody. Lennon is here on the desk again.
Oh shit, I don't know what I look like. I don't have a visual reference of myself right now. Hello. Hi. Hi. Oh, I'm so tiny.
Desk Lennon. This is my
I'm so
favorite bit.
cute.
My favorite bit. Hi,
I'm so
Jeannie.
cute. This is adorable.
Yeah. Made myself a soda stream. I made myself a Sprite in the soda stream because sometimes the bits just need the Sprite.
Wait, hold on. Can
What?
I?
What? Can you what?
I'm trying to see if I can... What direction am I looking right now on your screen?
You're looking directly up.
Directly up? You should position me so it looks like I'm looking at you when I look up, because this is the natural point for me to look at your stream while we're talking.
Okay, hang on. Maybe if I move you next to the kombucha. Like, just put you... like, here. I don't know if you can see yourself. It's probably delayed.
The stream will catch up in a second.
Yeah.
I'll see.
Like there.
Yeah, that works. So then I
Hell
can look
yeah.
up at you and like talk and stuff.
Hi, Nubis. Hello, everybody. So we had some issues with the game we wanted to play, but like also like, thank you for the follow, Nubis. But also I have brainworms for my own D&D world because I guess that's a healthy thing to have brainworms about. I guess.
D&D? Well,
I mean,
I
my own
think
D&D world. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean by brainworms? Because there's a difference between having brainworms and just having a hyperfixation.
I mean, wait, is there? Shit.
You're allowed to be hyperfixated on things. That's okay. That's usually.
Am I? Holy shit! I got beat for that as a kid. Oh my god, that's allowed? I shouldn't say that out loud.
People who aren't terrible.
I shouldn't say that out loud. Shit, sorry.
It's okay. We all process trauma differently.
Yeah. Boy, but yes, so, me and Lennon got to talking about the goblins in my D&D world of Koros, and, like, before, they were just like, they're just little farmer guys. Now there's so much more. I'm scared. But, you're losing brainworms to Baldur's Gate 'cause it's literal brainworms. So, Lennon, we were talking, like, while we were on the BRB screen, and, like, you know, like, wasting content. Wasted content as if we were talking about it without being recorded. About all the different types of goblins. So, what was it? So bugbears are from a different continent, goblins are from Koros, and then hobgoblins are like mules between them?
Yes, I think that's what we came to. Hobgoblins are the hybridization.
That sounds cool. Like, oh god, yeah, it makes sense because they're like as big as bugbears, but they've, I'm gonna say hobgoblins are green, like a brownish green instead of like, because like they're red. Hi Abby, thank you for the raid. We're just getting started. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream.
Hello.
What are you doing? We're talking about D&D stuff, specifically like homebrew stuff. But yeah, like, why are hobgoblins red? Like I'm gonna make them like brownish green, but like, why are they red by default? That sounds so weird. More than meets the eye, like your 3-foot-tall dragonborn.
That's a kobold. That's not a dragonborn anymore. That's a kobold. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I feel like if I make a hobgoblin, my hobgoblins are gonna be like a brownish green. Like they're like
a very skillful kobold.
He has a breath weapon. That just makes her a Pathfinder kobold.
Do Pathfinder kobolds have breath weapons?
Yes. It only does a D4, but they have a breath weapon. Yes.
Hobgoblins or Wizard of the Coast? Interesting. Okay,
wait, actually, holy. Okay, well, I'm fucking. Damn it! Should I get Brian in here? Damn. Make it like a less racist version? Shit. Maybe mostly wait for that. Wait, is that racist for me to say I want to get the Native American in here to help me make a Native American thing less racist? Is that racist in of itself? Shit.
No,
I don't know how this works.
That's actually what you're supposed to do in world building. That's actually what you're supposed to do, is get cultural references. But the thing is, you're not. if you're literally trying to make your
I'm not.
hobgoblins the equivalent, then that might be where it becomes an issue. But if you're working with somebody else's culture, it is usually important to get a cultural reference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my goal is not to make them like one-to-one with a culture. Yeah. Like if they wind up being similar, like that's, you know, that's just how it be. But like my goal is I don't want to. So here's the thing. The country I'm from colonized most of the planet, so I don't feel comfortable being like, yeah, I'll just take that culture and I'll take that culture and I'll just smash it. No, I'd rather just like make shit whole cloth if I can, which is harder, but like I feel like that's like the best way to do it, you know?
Well, I like what we've been doing in our little world building like last night. We're developing the culture in your world based on like the situations, based on how they got to where they are, and based on what their resources are and how they like. We develop those cultural ideas, like why they have these goblins, why the Burrows goblins at least have like an almost religious like connection to their mounts.
Yeah, like I think that's honestly like, I'm not gonna like diss anyone who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to use this culture to do that. Like the Estelians, for example, they are 100% British, but they're also greedy assholes. Like, I mean, but like that's my culture. I'm allowed to make fun of that.
Yeah. Well, there's also punching up.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you've got the the Republic people, and I honestly, in my head, I kind of see them as Irish, because they were an exploited people that were basically like their labor was being used in like gold mines and gem mines and all that to basically make the kingdom richer, and then a big tragedy happens, a bunch of people die, and they're like, all right, fuck this, revolution time, and now they have their own country that's like got a border conflict. They're basically Irish, like, and I do imagine that they do have Irish accents, because that's also my culture. Like, those are the only two I can think of that are just like a hard, yeah, no, that is just this culture. But that's like also cultures I belong to.
I mean, it's very hard to separate your own experiences from the things you create, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, but yeah. So the Burrows goblins. So just like to catch everyone up. So in the game that we play on Mondays, including tonight, there are. So Lennon's character is from a subgroup of goblins. I don't want to say sub-race, because they're the same race, it's just like a different group. A subgroup of goblins called the Burrow Goblins, and they live in a village above a gem mine that they call the Burrows, and they have a connection to a colony of what they call carriage cats. And you wanna explain their naming thing again? Because I want, because you're the one who came up with it, I want you to say it.
Yeah, so there's a fun bit of goblin lore that we have. My name, for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm sure most of you do. It's probably somewhere on here. Do you have my name? No, you don't. You have my link to me. You don't have my name.
Yeah, so people can click it,
using it. Anyway, I'm Lennon. My name's Lennon. I'm a goblin. I'm Lennon Burrows, the Burrows goblin. There's a tradition in this world with goblins where goblins get their names by going out on like an adventure to find what they're going to be called. Literally, at a certain age, they leave the village and they just find whatever item they think is cool. And then they bring it back, and the village elder decides what that item is, and that becomes that goblin's name for the rest of their, like, adult life. Prior to that, goblins are just referred to with whatever the first sound they made as a baby was.
Yeah.
Are you patting me?
Yeah. Oh shit!
Okay.
Thank you for the contribution to the Neumes. Thank you, Abby.
Neum.
Yeah, it's a little scooter attachment for my wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I want to be able to go on but most of this town is fucking either poorly maintained or uphill. It makes going out very difficult. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so for my own case, I would have went out on my little name searching adventure, And I like to think, like, I don't have a pure, like, solid idea of what exactly happened during that period is yet. But whatever I found, I thought it was cool enough to bring back to the village. And the village elder took this, I think what it would have been would have been some type of, like, outfit or like stylized, like, robe or something. Is what I brought back to my village on my name adventure. And the village elder is just an idiot. And just looks at it and it's like, well, that's just linen. So I got saddled with the name of a fabric.
Oh, God.
It's better than acorn or bucket. Poor bucket.
Poor bucket.
Imagine going your whole life being called bucket.
Huh. Here's the thought.
Yes.
So, goblins have a connection to Sydney, the goddess of nature and farming and such. So, so they have a very high amount of like druidism in their culture. The circle of growth, and the circle of growth is able to grow anything anywhere. Like they can turn a stretch of desert into arable farmland. What if you found flax seeds? Because if you live in the desert, that's going to be very hard for you to find. But if you go on, say, like an adventure all the way to the Empire, where, like, they've got, like, a really big goblin community over there of, like, people who are just, like, pure farmers, like, Amish, basically. Maybe you brought back some flax seeds, and flax has, like, a lot of different uses, linen only being one of them. Including as a food substance, and maybe there was a famine, you know, like maybe it's like, hey, like we're not growing enough food, like maybe the elder, being a dumbass, didn't ration the food out properly, right? Because you only got so many druids. And so you bring back this flax seed, it's used, and like, you know, they start growing the flax for food and using the seed as foods, and also, it can be used as a bunch of different stuff. So, like, I think you can use it for insulation. And I imagine insulation is probably very helpful in the desert. Right?
Would it be? I mean, depending on the type, yeah.
Well, because it's like, if it gets really cold, doesn't it?
That, like, it can. Deserts can be very cold at night, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
but the issue is you need the right type of insulation because, like, you need something that doesn't hold in the heat when it gets hot.
Oh, okay.
You need it to hold in the heat when it's cold.
Oh.
So I'm Canadian, and I don't know anything about that side of insulating anything.
Yeah.
All I know is how to keep things warm.
Oh. Well, I looked up linen and flax seeds, and, like, the use cases are actually kind of insane. So we have, of course, tableware, you've got clothing, you've got surgical thread, sewing thread, bedclothes, kitchen towels, fabrics for use in aviation, so, like, for planes, I guess, reinforcing of plastics and other composites, high-quality paper, upholstery, drapery, wall coverings, luggage, insulation, and water filtration.
I think my internet might be dying.
Could be my internet.
If I get weird, I apologize.
No, you're fine. They added a LARP character who was named after the flea-infested bag they kept weasels in, Itchy Sags. So, like, there's a bunch of different stuff you could...
Why would they keep weasels in the sack? Well, of course this... Wait, hold on. Of course the bag is flea-infested when it's filled with wild weasels.
Yeah.
That just makes sense.
Exactly. So...
Live.
Yeah.
How dumb are we making this village elder goblin? Who we've named Prosperity, I believe?
Yes.
How dumb is Prosperity?
Donald Trump dumb.
See, like... Okay, so... maybe I did... Like, I like this idea. I brought back flax seeds.
Yeah.
But that also implies that whoever I got them from is using flax seeds possibly as their source of fabric as well.
Mm-hmm.
What if what I brought back, knowing full well what to do with it, to how to help my village with these seeds?
Mm-hmm.
And the satchel the seeds are in, the bag, the fabric bag they gave me filled with flax seeds
Was made of linen.
Was made of linen.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm also imagining that, like, so, like, so we know that linen itself as a fabric is, like, very, very, like, pedestrian. It's, like, if you have something made of linen, it's generally not, like, super high quality unless you've got some, like, bougie shit, right?
Well, I mean, like, yeah, sure. Okay,
Yeah, well, because yeah, like, because, like, you've got, like, your regular... Huh?
Make and it's yeah, it's
Yeah, like, you've got your fancy linens, but, like, those usually have, like, silk or other shit alongside it, right? Just, like, flat linen by itself is generally considered...
it's a cheaper material.
Yeah. So, but to these goblins, like, most of what they've got is probably, carriage cat fur. And...
Oh god, the cat fur.
Well, I mean, I imagine they're probably, like...
No, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I imagine they're not, like, you know, like, fucking skinning the cats or anything. Like, I imagine...
No. It's not gonna be pelts. It's gonna be, like...
The
it's
sheds.
Gonna be knit. It's gonna be knit cat fur.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's felt. It's felt.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's felt.
Yeah.
You can so easily felt cat fur. It's wild.
Yeah. So, like, up until this...
So Burroughs goblins were using felt for everything in the desert. That's horrible.
Yeah, and then, like, so you come back, and you've got this bag of seeds, and, like, the druids are all there, because I imagine the druids probably have, like, a hand in running the place, because, like, they're in charge of the food. And, like, and you're there with these seeds in this bag, and, you're explaining, like, oh, you can use this to filter water for better crop growth, we could use this to make... blah blah blah, and you're listing off, like, a bunch of different stuff, and the entire time the elder has just, like zoned you out, so, like, so your voice to him, it just sounds like wah 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 wah, and he's just staring at the bag as he's sitting there in this itchy cat felt fleece, like, seeing this, like, breathable like, fucking cloth.
Yeah, I get it.
And he's like, you shall be known as linen for this gift of actually comfortable clothing. And you're just like, oh, I wanted to be called, like, water filler or something.
I'm sitting there hoping for some, like, metaphorical, like, savior type name.
Yeah. But, like, no, you get named after the I mean, could be worse. You could be, like, the guy named Carriage Cat.
That's fair.
Oh. I do... Like, okay,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I kind of hope he's here lurking, but, like, I hope Carcat doesn't get upset, like, for the fact that, like, we've
it's
kind
only
of...
in your version of the universe.
I mean, yeah, I know, but, like, we've inserted him in as a reference, as, like, oh, yeah, you went out and you found a colony of carriage cats to, like, make the, like, to basically give the village access to more of them, and you just got named Carriage Cat. You shortened it to Car Cat. Everyone else heard this and went like, shit, that is a lot easier to say, and then just, like, assign that to the fucking cats, too.
Doesn't even get his... God. I love it. I love it.
I hope he's lurking.
We'll find out. We'll find out the reaction eventually, I'm sure.
Someday. Maybe Nicole's here. Maybe Nicole's, like, just sitting across from him and just like, hey. Oh, boy. I hope he's doing okay.
Tell us about the carriage cats.
Oh, yes,
tell us
okay.
about these carriage cats.
So the carriage cats, I have...
Liv, what's a carriage cat?
A carriage cat is... hang on, I'm trying to get the...
Wouldn't it be cool if you could put up a thing on your stream that
yes,
was, like,
it very much...
stat block?
It very much would be, if the website would work. There we go. I'm going to just adjust real quick. Oh no, you're big now. Imagine you bring back an animal you expect to be eaten, get the name Feast, but I mean, this culture is based around carriage cats, so, like, they know that they're not for eating.
Oh yeah, you don't fuck with cats.
No, you do not.
You don't fuck with cats.
Thanks for the memories, think when they weren't so great. I'm sorry, like, I've got my music going and, like, I love this song.
Here, let me move my thing so I'm looking in the right direction again.
Yeah. Shit.
There, I'm good.
Okay. Yes, so the carriage cat. So they are these big, hang on, I gotta scroll up, because, like, you gave me, like, a really good visual for them. They're just palace cats.
They're big palace cats. Do you want me to send you one of the images again?
Hang on, I'm just scrolling up.
Okay.
So there's babies. What if when they're kittens, they're the size of regular palace cats and they just hit like a hella fucking growth spurt?
There's just a growth. Yeah, I love it. That's great.
Hang on, there was a really cute.
They're so cute.
Yeah, they are.
They're so stupid and cute. They almost look like they have human ears on the sides of their
They
heads, which
do.
is weird.
That's actually kind of funny.
Like the two things is their ears are round and they're in the middle of the side of their head.
What if the goblin like slang term for humans is like referencing the cats in some way? Because goblins would have seen the cats before they saw human.
Oh, I'm totally looking the wrong direction now, aren't I? Hold on.
A little bit.
What's going on here? I can fix this.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Let me know if I am looking the right way. Yeah, no, they're so cute. I like that one with the blep. Oh, now it's gone.
Yeah, the one with the blep is
stream
great.
delay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
No, they're great. They're like. So imagine this creature, this cat, like the size of a large pony.
Yeah. So like they're bigger than a pony but smaller than a horse. And it's like there's just this big fluffy cat just going around the desert with like a saddle on, pulling like a wagon. I still really like the idea that like what if the goblin word for human roughly translates to cat boy or cat girl?
That would be funny.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
And then they meet like a Leonin or a Tabaxi and they're like, yo, what the fuck?
Suddenly the whole goblin tribe is just like following the Tabaxi government.
Well, the
leaders, whatever they have. What are Tabaxi like in your universe?
So Tabaxi and are oh boy. So in this universe, you've got the Nemean Empire, and the Nemean Empire is from another continent far away. And they're initially all made up of Leonin and Tabaxi. Leonin and Tabaxi in this universe are the same species. It's just like basically just like different like subspecies of them, right? So like
okay, hold on. So can I just run an idea by you?
Okay.
Just where my brain immediately went?
Okay.
You know how sometimes people make needless distinctions between things that are the exact same thing?
Yeah.
And then they get really protective over that?
Uh-huh.
Like the difference between clarified butter and ghee?
Yeah.
They're the same thing.
Yeah.
And if, like, I've seen people literally argue that there's no such thing as clarified butter because ghee is a thing that exists as a cultural dish, and it's like...
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to get into that, but I see that people defend things very vehemently when they are literally the same thing.
Yeah.
What if it's like that? You have these, like the Leonins have, like, a look to them, and there's, like, a subsect of them that, like, fully believes they are a different specific thing, and they hold value to that, and the rest of the Tabaxi are just like, you just have funny hair, what are you talking about?
I don't think it would go quite that far, because their society is very, So I'll just get into like the thing real quick.
I would love to hear how they work.
Yeah. So, long ago, there's another empire like across the ocean, and there was a coup like long ago where, their king basically got overthrown by his younger brother, and the king fled, and he took all of his supporters with him. So that was Leonin, Tabaxi, and like a few like humans and other, because humans are fucking everywhere. They're like roaches. And they just kept sailing, and they just kept going and going until they eventually reached the shores of Koros, where they founded what they called the Nemean Empire, which is also the name of the empire back home. But he's like, no, that's the name of my empire. I don't care if he's using that name. I'm not changing my empire's name because my dickhead brother stole my fucking kingdom. And they just started expanding. They ran into the goblins that lived in that area, and those goblins were having kind of a rough time. And the Nemeans brought their god with them, Sydney, and Sydney connected with these goblins and taught them about farming and all that, and they adapted it into their druidic practice, and thus the Circle of Growth was born. And those goblins over time would spread out across the entire continent, leading to, you know, the Burrows goblins and all the different subgroups.
Yes.
And they just kept expanding, till eventually they reached their current borders. Hang on, I should probably actually pull up the map. Give me a sec.
While you're doing that, I just want a side thing.
Yeah.
I was telling one of my partners all about the Burrows Goblin lore that we've been inventing the last day or so. And they asked a very interesting question, which I want to pose to you.
Yes.
Which we can get to later in the stream because you're talking about something now.
Mm-hmm.
How do the other cultures react when suddenly a group of goblins started a mine?
We'll get to that because I did actually have a. So goblins aren't considered like vermin in this world. The goblins are actually because the goblins. No. Sorry.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting like this is a group of farmers and druids and like.
Oh, they're like, oh, that's fucking weird. Yeah, like I see.
Suddenly there's a group of them mining. Like how do the dwarves feel about this? How to
the dwarves at the time were enslaved by the mages, so I don't think the dwarves get a say.
Oh, okay.
One. Yeah.
Okay. So history I don't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah. The dwarves live. I don't know if you're. Oh wait, the stream delayed. The dwarves live over on this island called the Selenian Magocracy. It didn't used to be called the Selenian Magocracy.
Okay.
Only recently have the dwarves been freed, and they're still catching up.
So in your world, I've been in another mine, which now that I've kind of retconned a mine being in part of my backstory, it's weird that I didn't mention it while we were there.
You had more pressing things to worry about at the time.
Is it generally like the kobolds aren't the ones that built the mine? Did we know who built the mine?
The mine was built by the Estelians. Like the Estelians, like if it has something to do with gold,
are the Estelians more just like a kingdom of a variety of people, or do they have like a specific? We are like a ruling people.
Their royal family are elves, but they are a little cosmopolitan. Yeah, they.
Okay, so like it's not like an elven empire, but it's technically an elven ruling family.
I don't believe in, like, especially if a society has existed for long enough, I don't believe in cultural monoliths.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's cool. That's good to know.
Yeah, I like.
So issues like what do the dwarves think of the goblins suddenly mining aren't really a thing because the dwarves don't necessarily think of like dwarves versus other race. They just.
Yeah.
Here's a new mining company that we weren't expecting.
Yeah. Like I think the only real like monolith I would say is probably Corcairn because that's just all halflings, and that's not even really a government. It's just a bunch of halflings like farming and getting high. It's essentially a commune.
Well, that's kind of. I feel like that's kind of like what's going on with the goblins as well. Is they're like adjacent to like a druid circle. Like not all of them are druids. It seems like the majority of the goblins are somewhere around druids and rangers, though.
Yeah, like you're not incorrect.
Yeah. So it's like, I think the only reason that like the goblins are in like a semi-close society the way they are is just because of like those specific like almost religious things, not because not because of species.
Yeah, and like. Also, like, so there is like really ancient lore. So remember how the kobolds didn't have a god, so they are kind of considered a lesser race. Before the Nemeans showed up and gave the goblins like a god, the goblins like were kind of considered like. So like, you know, like how in like fantasy worlds there's like, oh, there's like a camp of gnolls over there, and it's like the gnolls are basically animals as far as the game is concerned. Um, goblins were kind of considered similar because if a society doesn't have a god, they're kind of like, well, like, you know, basically like people don't do it like on purpose, but it's like, well, my culture, my society has a god patronizing them. You don't? Well, sucks to suck, you know, like kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I could see there being, if we're gonna get into like fantasy racism.
Yeah.
I could see there being an element of like, well, that's not a real sentient species then. There's no god guiding them. How can they have intelligence and morals without influence of a celestial being?
Exactly.
Like I could see certain sects making those assumptions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and I don't get the vibe that that's how it always works in your world. Like talking to the people we have in game and stuff, I don't get the vibe that everybody thinks that.
Yeah, like this is more like a wider scale thing than a like individual level thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and even then, like fucking, it does not matter if your culture like got that god like by one of their own ascending or if they got given it. It doesn't matter so long as you have one. So like for example, the goblins. Like, the goblin god is herself not a goblin, though she does appear in goblin form sometimes when she wants to meet with them. She was a Nemean god, and she actually abandoned the Nemeans for a bit, and I'll get into that, actually. So the Nemeans landed over here at Lion's Landing, and they just kind of started expanding out. They just went, and they got to First Pride, Flat Scar, and they were just like, man, there's like no one here. What the fuck? And then they get to Rune Rest, and they find a bunch of goblins, like literally a druid grove around a massive rune stone. And they talk with the goblins, and the goblins talk with them. And the Nemeans didn't know about the whole like no god, no country thing. Because that's very much a Karossian thing. Like other places have different rules for that, but like and then and the druids basically they learned about the Nemean culture and they learned about their god, who is Sydney, and they're like, oh, this Sydney person sounds really cool. Like hey, can we speak to some of your priests and all that? And the goblin druids speak to the priest. They find out like, oh, Sydney, she's a god of, she's averse to conflict. She's a god of life. She's a god of renewal. She's a god of new beginnings. She's a god of farming, etc., etc. And the goblins, already being like druids who are very much into horticulture, are like, oh shit, yeah, no, sign us up. And so like they kind of then got ascended as far as like the rest of the societies are concerned because they have a god now. And the Nemeans went, well, shit, everyone here is friendly. Let's just keep going. And so they just kept expanding. And then they get to the mountain range at the very edge of this area here. And it's most of the reason why they never ran into anything is just like the Delaware Mountains just go from like coast to coast and just, like all of the roads through it were dug by the Nemeans.
You know what? I never noticed that looking at this map. I haven't looked at it long enough to like actually like learn the landscape yet.
Yeah.
I did not realize you had like a spine of the world thing going on.
Yeah. It's one of my it's one of my favorite things. It's like it's a really good way also to like be like, hey, like this is like a self-contained area.
But live. How did it happen? That doesn't make any geological sense. What happened? Who built these mountains?
The mountains were built during the war.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is this on the off the cuff lore?
Yes.
Good.
I mean, to be fair, like the origin myth for this world is like mortals who would then ascend to become gods fighting shadow demons. Geological changes can happen. You know?
Yeah, the way you said that made me think that like your entire continent isn't a continent, but the result of trench warfare just put down by like lost civilization.
I mean, honestly, you wouldn't be that far off.
I'm now just imagining it like these geographical structures were put there intentionally for tactical reasons.
You are not that far off.
That's great. I love
So,
that.
so something that like I really like. So do you see like the big mist mountains in the middle? There's just like this big
Yeah.
mountain. They're right in the middle of the fucking continent for like no reason, and it's just permanently coated in ice, despite the fact there's a fucking desert right there. So
So is there
first off,
some secret fortress right in the middle of that?
yeah.
A
So
whole thing of fortress?
yes, this entire mountain.
Amazing.
So first off, the god of winter is up there, so of course it gets snowy.
Makes
Um,
sense.
but during the war, the very top of the mountain was where the lord of the shadow creatures lived, and Kissalan, being the leader of the military of the gods, led his army up there, killed him, like sliced off his head, while the magic gods were banishing the lesser demons. And then once he was up there, Kissalan went, "This is where I will look upon the world, and this is where I shall prepare the world for the rest of for the apocalypse to come." Because Kislan is like he's a war god, and the war just ended.
Mhm.
So of course, like he's a villain now. His whole point is I'm going to make things worse, so that when like the actual apocalypse comes, people will be ready. Which is why his followers are basically theofascists.
So hold on. I'm just trying to interpret the way you said that. Is it like, is the intention that he just like wants there to be war constantly for the fact that he's the god of war, or is it like just trying to interpret a little bit, like,
Sorry.
is it like there's an apocalypse coming that's he's aware of, and
So
he's essentially training the peoples?
so
Like, is that how, like, because that's the way I interpret it with how you said it, like causing wars is training these people to be prepared for an apocalypse?
yeah. So Kissalan is very. He is a hammer, and he sees everything as a nail. He is
Mhm.
under the opinion that banishing the shadow demons were incredibly numerous. They were like as many mortals as there were shadow demons. And he went up and he went to go kill the head of it. He took his army. And the more magically inclined gods were like, okay, once the king is dead, the rest of the army of the shadow demons will be in disarray, and we can banish them to the long shadows, right? And Kissalan was like, no, it's a stupid idea. So long as any of them live, like we have to kill them all. You have to kill them all, Peter. You know, like, so he was like, fine, whatever, we'll get this done, but it is gonna bite us in the ass. And so he is of the opinion that in the long shadows, where they're banished where none can see them, the shadow demons are regaining their power and they're going to break their bonds someday, and it's going to be a bigger problem. Whether that's true or not, who knows, right? But that is his opinion. And by his opinion, if he continually causes issues and causes discord and war and just generalized problems, the world will be better off. So he appeared to the Daedalus elves as basically a godlike figure to them, and basically became their god as well, though the other people would not know it. The Daelin elves don't even know that he's actually Kissalan, because they think that he's an elven god. All the elven gods died during the war, but the Daelins don't know that. And then the people of Kissalan's breath, he has basically sent his children, Asimar, down to basically train them to basically be North Korea.
Oh god.
Yeah, they are a super insular group of theocratic fascists that view everyone else as weak and soft. And so their life's mission is to make themselves so fucking strong and so powerful while exerting religious pressure on everyone around them so that they start adopting their ways. And as a result, worship of any other god in Kissalan's breath is punishable by death, because Kissalan believes that his companions were weak. They were too weak to finish the job. He essentially wanted to holocaust the shadow demons.
I mean, when they're called shadow demons, though,
Yeah.
when
But
they're
like,
called shadow demons,
yeah. But not
I feel
all.
like that isn't an inappropriate response as a knee-jerk reaction.
I mean, yeah, but like they're called shadow demons by the people who are killing them.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I didn't consider that. It's the shadow demons probably don't call themselves shadow
No,
demons.
they call their name for themselves is the creatures of long shadows. Which,
Yeah, well that could be totally normal.
yeah, like, and even then, that's like a translation from their language to common.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and like, not all of them are evil. Like, a good deal of them are very bitter about being sealed away for thousands and thousands of years. But like, a lot of them just want to get out because like they're trapped in a like basically the Shadowfell essentially, like for lack of a better comparison. Like fucking Xeno's character is basically one. Like, you know, he thinks he's a cat and like he has the memories of being a cat, but functionally he's a creature of long shadows. Yeah.
Yeah, I have so many questions, but I will not ask them because I want them to be revealed as we play the game.
Yeah.
I realize with our added backstory though, like that's gonna add a lot of interesting dynamic for like, and even with how I've treated Xeno's character so far, like lines up with my backstory a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with the cat.
Don't fuck with the cat.
No, you don't fuck with the cat.
Yeah.
Like, and that makes sense as to why I was trying to capture it in the first place.
Yeah.
I was trying to be friends with a cat. That's exactly what I would have done given my backstory now.
Made a literal goblin girl chaos monk named Pancake Stack Up Short. Oh, that's a hell of a name.
Everything about Pancake.
I love them. I love. I know nothing about them, but I love them.
Tell us everything. I've been playing a monk in Baldur's Gate right now, so now I just like keep thinking about monk characters for tabletop.
Yeah.
So
I wish monk was better.
In Baldur's Gate or in tabletop?
Tabletop.
Okay.
Because Baldur's Gate actually makes monk really good. Yeah.
Yeah. In Baldur's Gate, the gear you can get is what makes monk good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just to finish my thing about the Nemeans, because I realized I got stuff.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, after they teamed up with the goblins, they just kept going. They ran into the Fae at around Fish Rest and Lumber Lake. This entire forest here doesn't have a name because they can't name it because the Fae keep taking the name.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, the Fae just keep... Every time they name it, the Fae take the name.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Liv, that's so silly.
So it's just... Okay. It's just the forest.
Functionally, how does that work?
Someone named...
Is it like they collectively forget there was a name, or do they collectively know they named it but can't utter the word? Like, how does this work?
They know they named it, but they don't remember what they named it.
I would like to think. I would like to think that they keep naming it very similar things.
I think at this point they've given up.
Okay.
Yeah, like because remember, like they've been here for like at least 2 generations, right? Like
I bet I would bet if that's how it works, like I bet like even in modern times when they're not trying to like technically name it, like as you would name an area, like I bet there's like historians and stuff that are writing books and trying to like describe the area and like literally failing to be like, do you know what I mean? Like, even in that context,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
the Fae are still just like fucking with them in minor ways.
Yeah, well, like, so the thing with this, so there's no Feywild in this world. Yeah, the Feywild is technically that forest. If you go into that forest, it extends infinitely once you're inside, and the only way out is for a Fae to lead you out.
Okay, so question. Question, because I'm assuming that the Fae have a name for the area.
Yes, they do.
Is the fact that they keep stealing the name, is it just normal Fae trickery, or is there an element of like, you're not using the proper name for this area? You're not using the name of the people who own this area?
Oh, the Fae just think it's funny.
So you can't call it that? Okay.
They just think it's funny.
I didn't know if it was like a
Yeah.
No, this is our land. Fuck you. You don't get to call it something else.
Yeah, the Fae in this world are, I kind of think of them as like they've got like Peter Pan syndrome kind of thing, right?
Okay, so they're like the wee folk type Fae.
Yeah, yeah.
Not in stature or description, but in personality.
Yeah, like, so they're very, very protective of their home. But they also like to play. They also have a bad habit of kidnapping children because they vibe with children very much. And if a child wanders into the forest, the Fae aren't going to let them out because, like, they like playing too much.
Yeah,
and time stands still, so that child is then a child forever once they're in there.
Is there acknowledgement on their end that they are doing something wrong in
No,
that, or do they literally not know?
They literally are not capable of understanding they're doing something wrong.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that.
If they get upset, they are very petty, though. So
Negative Sorry. I'm just reading about Pancake really quick.
No, I'm enjoying that. Thank you for the follow, Love Ritter Rose. Yeah, I'm very. I just kind of was reading it like in my head as I was talking. That's very good. I like that a lot.
I really, really like that.
Sorry. But yeah. So the people of Lumber Lake. So like they need access to forest. By the way, the forest also loops around. So you see like the forest on the other side. If a Fae leads you, leads you out of the forest, they might lead you out on the other side. It literally is like Pac-Man rules, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
But like,
you ever notice, like, if you're walking through and they do lead you out the other side, is there ever is there like a magical barrier that is there a moment where you can notice that you've been transported?
No.
Or is it like the laws of physics aren't?
No, there is. Yeah, once you are past the tree line, it doesn't.
Okay, so like as far as like, I'm gonna use the word Feywild for just for.
Yeah, no, like go for it.
Context, like, if you're in the Feywild, I know it's not the Feywild, but if you're in the Feywild, like, its physical map is different than like the actual real world physical map.
Exactly.
Like you can like walk from point A to point B.
And it's an infinite
be on the
forest.
other side of okay. Would that mean I have a question. I have a question. If I'm gonna say this specifically the way that I am because I think it would have to, like, in my brain I'm already like writing my own rules. It's your world, so you can make the actual rules, but like, if a Fey creature were to can the Fey leave the Feywild?
They can, they just don't like to because then they start aging and they don't like that.
Yes. So, if a Fey creature were to leave the Feywild, or your equivalent of, with say a shrubbery, and were to plant their own grove somewhere, if it got big enough, would they have access
to the
same Feywild?
It would link up.
That's so cool. So you could have Fey, like, if they had druids, you could have druids that have little pocket druid groves for like transportation around the world.
Yeah, like
that's really cool, Liv.
I imagine, like, I had an idea for a more Fey-themed druid subclass. I don't know if there already is one, because I don't fuck with druid very often, that's why I haven't done it. But, like, just, like, it's like a druid that feels kind of like a warlock kind of thing, where it's, like, like, if there is a tree somewhere, they can then basically, like, well, like Minecraft in the Nether, you know? You have you played enough? You played Minecraft? You know about Nether fast travel, right? Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. Every 8 blocks.
You go.
Yeah. You go 8 blocks in the real world for every one. Yeah. Yeah.
It's Nightcrawler rules. You bamf through a different realm that has a shorter physical distance.
Do the Fae gift little bonsai trees to people who act as back? They do now. That sounds cool as shit. Yeah, like,
but does the size of the plant from the Feywilds, does that matter to what access it has?
No.
Like, could you tree step through a bonsai tree into somebody's backyard?
Yes.
I made up a word there, but...
Yes. I'm going to say yes. I imagine, like, basically, like, it's... Like, there's a little knot... Like, I'm imagining, like, a little bonsai tree, but it's not like a bonsai tree as we know. It's like a little oak tree. It's like an oak tree the size of, like, a broccoli. And there's, like, a little knot hole in it. And if you, like, put your finger in the knot hole, like, it just sucks you in and just, like... And you're in the forest. You know?
You made me imagine a capitalist sect of druids.
Oh, the Fae hate capitalism.
No, I nothing to. This was totally an off to the side. Nothing to do with anything irrelevant.
Okay.
You just something about what you said made me imagine a capitalist sect of druids that make and sell bonsai plants that can't be bonsai'd.
Mm-hmm.
So like a sequoia, but like 3 feet tall.
Jeez.
And stuff like that, and
That's
they just
great.
go and like they sell houseplants, but houseplants that would normally be way too massive for a houseplant.
I love that. That's great. If I played the Messenger, I've not, but like I'll have to look it up. But yeah. So fun fact about Lumber Lake. So Lumber Lake, and Fish Rest. If you have a child, you need to send them to a different town. Because the Fae will take the Fae will take them. Yeah, and the Fae like literally don't understand what they're doing wrong. And a lot of Fae
they must have a great retirement community in those towns.
Literally, yeah. Like they are retirement communities. Like that's basically it. Like there's two kinds of people that live in Fish Rest and Lumber Lake. It's like young, like 20-somethings who are just trying to make money, but they don't want to be.
It's Florida.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, it's young 20-somethings that want to make money doing either lumber work or fishing, but like and don't want to become adventurers. Or it's old people who are doing fishing or tree cutting, like just to like spend time before they die.
There's a job you didn't mention.
Yeah.
There's a job you didn't mention, which is probably outpaces both those industries. Is my guess.
What was that?
You're talking about it being a retirement area. The service industry is going to be booming.
Yeah, probably.
It's going to be like a lot of because they can't be too young because they can't be kids. So it's going to be like early 20s, first job working at the gas station type stuff.
Yeah,
you need a lot of people to like serve these retired old folks.
Oh, there's also confectioners. Like it's actually a really big place for confectioners for a very specific reason. So, where do you think you're getting the trees?
Wait, hold on, Liv. I'm sorry. I have a question about the nature of the retirement.
Okay.
This is a fantasy universe.
Mm-hmm.
A somewhat, like, an approximation of medieval kind of timeline.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
I know that doesn't really work when you talk about fantasy because the development of, like, society would be way different if you introduce magic. But it's got a medieval vibe. It's a fantasy universe.
Yeah.
I assume people don't live long.
Your average Leonin and Tabaxi lives for about 200 years. Humans live for about 80. Like once again, magic and healing magic is fairly common.
That is true.
So
okay,
so your
healing magic would make healthcare a lot more affordable.
Yeah, your average Numian lives about 200 years. Humans are about 80 to 100. Elves are practically immortal. Dwarves live for basically. Oh god, dwarves are weird. Fuck. Okay, we'll get into dwarves later.
I do want to talk about dwarves because one of my favorite depictions of dwarves is living stone.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's dwarven biology is weird. If you cut a dwarf, their blood is liquid rubies. Once it dries, it turns into gemstones.
Like it crystallizes.
Yes. Dwarves are living stone.
No, I was actually gonna ask that because you it sounded weird when you said liquid rubies, but when you said like their blood is, my brain immediately jumped. Do they like bleed crystals? Like, do they will it? Is it a mineral?
Yes, dwarves are living stone. They are stone made flesh.
So dwarves. That's amazing. I have this whole picture of dwarves not growing the way that other like organic beings would grow, and like growing instead in the way that like if you put a crystal on a string in a jar, it like that like rock candy. When you make rock candy, how the sugar crystallizes on the string, and it gets bigger and bigger over time.
Yeah.
That's how now I'm imagining your dwarves.
You're not that incorrect. Dwarves
Which would mean that there wouldn't be baby dwarves. There would just be smaller dwarves.
So.
Which is nonsense. You don't have to use that. I just really like that idea. It's very silly.
Okay. I'm going to finish what I'm talking about. What I was talking about the Fae. I'm going to finish what I was talking about the Nemeans, and then I'll go to the dwarves. So,
I love this.
Yeah, so in Fish Rest and Lumber Lake, confectionery is very, very popular because every time you catch a fish, because note that the lake is called Fae Pool.
Yes.
It's runoff from the Feywild. The source of that lake is in the Feywild. Anytime you catch a fish or you cut down a tree, you need to either toss a candy into the lake, or you need to place a candy on the tree stump.
Oh, so so you're paying for what you're taking from the Fae.
Yeah, and the Fae love candy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in addition, you can only enter into the Fae Forest from the Lumber Lake side. If you try and go in from the Flatscar First Pride side, you'll just keep walking forward, and then you'll just come out where you came in. You have to go in through the front door because that's polite.
You around.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cute.
Yeah, because Fae are they're kids, but they have like a very like childish view of what's polite. You know?
Yeah.
It's like
no, totally. Like that makes sense to me.
You have to come in through the front. You have to come in through the front door. You can't come in through the back door, etc. Like unlike only like someone that the Fae like is allowed to go in through any piece of wood, unless the Fae think it's funnier to do that. Like once again,
I like how your world works.
Yeah, like the Fae are very much like wee folk kind of thing. Like, and you have like your standard, like most Fae, however, are practically leprechauns. Like pixies and stuff exist, but they're not the default.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they are traditional like Irish style fairies.
Do you have red caps?
Yes, I do, and I don't like talking about them because red caps are weird. I don't like talking about them. I don't know, like they exist, but like it's been hard fitting them in because red caps.
Do you want some help?
All right.
Like how close to original red cap lord are they?
I want them to be fairly close to what they are in actual mythology versus like the weird shit the wizards did with them. You know?
Yeah, yeah. They.
I am
my favorite version of a red cap is that they're just literally a mean goblin.
Yeah.
Like there's the depiction of a red cap where it's just they are the goblins that kill a lot to the point where their clothing is soaked through with blood.
Hang on a second.
And that's kind of what Wizards does, but Wizards made them like a fiend, didn't they? A fiend or a...
Hang on a sec, Lana. Hang on. Have a good day at work, Bebble. I love you. Don't forget your bubbly. Okay. Sorry. So I was going to work and I made them a bubbly in the soda stream, so they have something to drink on their way to work.
Cute.
But yeah, so yeah, like I mean I guess that's like one way to do it. Like red caps in like traditional mythology, they're essentially spirits of the forest that have been corrupted by basically like wars that have disrupted nature, right? So like a red cap is a wee folk who gets a taste for blood and they kind of become addicted to it, right? It's kind of supposed to be like a thing of like, hey, if you keep doing all this war shit, you're going to fuck up everything. Like even nature's out of balance.
Is that your depiction of them?
That's
or how
I'm editorializing a little bit, but that's like the actual real world.
Okay.
Kind of vibe, yeah.
Yeah, wizards did weird things with them.
Yeah. But like I like the idea of them being corrupted wee folk, but like my wee folk are
too innocent for that.
They're innocent children.
Can I offer you something? I have an idea.
Okay.
I have an idea. Why would they have a red cap that wouldn't be just soaked in blood then? I'm trying to lead you somewhere. You don't. It's rhetorical. Make it a mushroom.
Wait, like, is it like there's sentient
infestation?
There's sentient mushrooms?
No, not the whole creature.
Oh.
The cap. The cap is cordyceps.
Oh, no! No!
Your poor little fey creatures.
No. Oh, here's one that's even sadder, actually. I just can't, like, they go... So most of the Fae are actually like there are like born like Fae, right? But then there's also Fae that are like children, right? And then like when they spend enough time in the Feywild, they eventually they eventually transform into Fae, right? Because exposure to the magic and all that, blah blah blah. And they take on aspects of plants. What if redcaps are people that take on aspects of mushrooms? Because maybe like they were like kind of like a shitty kid or something, right?
Yeah.
And they really
so hold on. Let me understand. I want to because sometimes I'm slow. So your suggestion is that the red caps are a Fey creature that wasn't always Fey.
I mean, almost all of them are didn't begin as Fey. Like
okay, I understand now.
Yeah, that's how they make more Fey. Yeah. And the red cap is like someone who like maybe was not the best person, maybe like they were kind of like a shit kid, right? And so they like they were a toxic personality, and so they become a mushroom.
Go on.
And they really desire human like they desire like touch and kindness and basically like they're innocent, right? Here's the thing. If you hug a red cap, it spews poison. It spews a neurotoxin.
Do they know they're poisonous?
They do not. They don't understand because they're Fey. They don't understand.
So they're still childish and playful, and they still want to be your friend, but they're
horribly poisonous.
Okay.
They exude a neurotoxin. So like, if you see a red cap, like you have to not offend it, not make it upset, but also you can't let it get too close to you.
I mean, that vibes with other depictions of red caps too, though. Like,
yeah,
like you don't like they're. Yeah, no, that works. It's just you're shifting the murder from being intentional to being unknowing.
Yeah, I like the idea of like something that like will kill you and is like it's not aware that it's doing it.
And that but that sounds like what the Feywild air quotes again in your world is like. It's murdering you, but it doesn't know that it's doing that.
And even then, like it might even
that
then,
sounds like the whole vibe of your thing.
It's literally like if you gave a bunch of 6-year-olds like the power to warp reality. Like people are going to die.
I do have a question now because of your chat. What Rose says here. They made a suggestion of how to make red caps work, but I do wonder about. Not in the context of red caps, that same thing. What happens when the Fae want to play human? When they want to play house, when they want to make a little village and pretend to have a farm? Like, do they do that? Do they make up like these little human villages to fuck with people?
I can't honestly. That be like they don't come out of. Oh, actually, idea. So the Fae
don't come out of the forest.
Yeah.
But
so
if you're walking, like, what if you got in?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So like I'm just imagining like you get into the forest and like you just start walking and you see a village and it looks exactly like your hometown to like autistic levels of detail, but it's completely better. there's sculptures of each and they're recognizable as people that are alive right now living there, but they're made out of like mushrooms and plant matter. Like the
Oh
Fae were
God,
just like
they're children. They're
and they
children.
and they
Live.
just played dolls. Yeah.
Yeah, they can look through other portions of the Feywild into like other people's lives.
Hmm. Yeah. And they
Live.
recreate what they see because they want to play
Yeah,
house.
because they watch TV.
Yeah.
It's fandom.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Like they
You
have like,
invented fandom for the
yeah,
Feywild.
yes, yes, yes.
They
You're slightly wrong. The
they're
house's door
literally
is
just
wrong way.
kids watching other like adventurers out in the world, other villages. Like some little village might be really like prone to drama, so they watch that really often, and now they're fans of like the bookshop keeper who's just really sassy.
Yeah, and like and they make these little like hyper specific dioramas that they play. Oh, what if like they have the ability to like animate like the figures as well, right? And
Hmm.
so like these figures are like going around and like being like and they sound exactly like the real person, but like because the Fae don't quite understand, like they're like children. So it's like if they see
No,
someone
Liv.
like
Oh,
what?
we're getting such good world building here.
Mm-hmm.
The Fae don't want to hurt the kids that come into the forest.
They just want to
When they
play.
abduct a kid, they want to play with them.
Yeah.
They know that human children have parents. They know they need food. They know that there's societies that keep these kids alive.
Mm.
The Fae probably don't fully understand how that society keeps that kid alive,
Mm-hmm.
but they probably understand that's important.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, I mean, I imagine that like the
what if
Fae
it's
that
a daycare?
yeah, maybe. Also I imagine that just like to bring like a little bit of sad to it. I imagine like a lot of the Fae like being former
Mhm.
children themselves, they probably remember. So
Yeah.
like it's possible that they might also just recreate their own homes. You know, have like little like wooden moss replicas of like
Oh,
their parents.
that gets into like what Rose is saying, like having like things that are slightly wrong. Like imagine coming into a town that like your group is in the Feywild, and you come upon a town that like your whole group knows. They
Mm-hmm.
recognize it like instinctually, but there's like those little things that are wrong with it, and then bigger things that are wrong with it that are hidden away, like somebody's childhood home that didn't grow up in that town.
Mm.
Like it
And
gets more fucked up the deeper you
yeah.
get into it and the more you learn about the actual Fae.
Mm. I like the idea that that Rose came out with is like the figures aren't always just made out of wood. It's like someone is a bad guest, they get like transformed into those wooden sculptures and stuff.
You should catch up on your chat really quick.
Yeah, I am.
I
That's
think
what I
you're
was
in
saying.
line with
Yeah,
them.
no,
Yeah,
I am
you're
very
totally in
much.
line with them.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing. Yeah, I'm agreeing with y'all on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like these Fae, like they respect people being polite. They are former children turned Fae. They miss their
Mhm.
families, but also they recognize that like they can't leave, or if they do leave, they will. I imagine that Fae have a very short lifespan, but like while they're in the Feywild, they don't age. You know, like if a Fae
Yeah,
goes out of the, so if a Fae leaves the Feywild, if they're out for like a few years, they die of old age. But like if they're in the
I
Feywild, they live forever because they don't age. You know.
oh, you make me want to I want to build a character in your world
Mm-hmm.
because now I have this image of like what happens when somebody's like not connected to the Fae, like a Fae, somebody who's part of the Feywild, part of the Fae, it like is Fae, but
Mm-hmm.
like for some reason they leave. I don't know what that reason is, but they choose to leave the Feywild. What happens to them? Well, like they get old and die, but like mentally, do they age? Do they start understanding the difference of like how they were acting in the Feywild to like how society acts as like there's grown-ups and stuff? Like
I
do they learn
I
or do they
imagine
stay children?
I imagine they would learn the same way a child would. you know? But like, so like, they start out
Is
like with
that
the
accelerated? Is that accelerated with
no,
their accelerated aging, or
no,
so they have to learn at the same rate in their minimal time out of the Feywild?
yeah. So like, if they became a Fae when they were like 5, when they leave, they're at that 5-year-old level of understanding, and then it's like,
But once they're out, they are capable of
yeah,
progressing still.
yeah. And if they do come back to the Feywild, then they do retain that. Like literally, like the main reason like a lot of them stay childish despite living for ever is the fact that like if you were like an eternal 6-year-old and you had the ability to warp like physics and nature to basically play like basically like if you had the ability to make your toys come to life and
Yeah.
completely warp
Mhm.
existence in order to suit your toys and your imagination, you wouldn't learn
Liv,
anything
you're
either.
inventing a villain. You're inventing a villain.
Being bored means dying. Oh geez. As long
You invented a villain by accident, and I
uh,
don't think you realized it.
nah, it's fine.
You've created a hypothetical Fey who has left the Feywild with a means of not aging,
Oh no.
who gains the ability to learn and remembers what it was like to be in the Feywild, to have the powers that they have in the Feywild,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that like if they had the ability to not age, to not die while they're out of the Feywild, they can go back and
Yes.
they're retaining what they learned, and you then have an adult with all the corruption of the non-Fey.
I mean, but like remember they only if that's dependent on them somehow staying alive outside the Feywild for long
It
enough
is,
though.
but like this is a fantasy world.
Yeah, that's true.
There's
Like
going to be a
anything could
magic
happen.
ring. There's going to be a druid who finds the one little Fey kid who they feel sorry for and gives the ring, like a little ring made out of like a holly branch that makes them connected to the Feywild even though they're not there. Some
Mm.
bullshit. There's
Fucking
going to be somebody who gets a few extra years out of the Feywild and learns,
Rose came up with a
and
good
then they have
idea.
choices to make. What's okay? Let me catch up.
A Fae who has made the only ever cardinal sin of the Fae wood. They've carved armor out of the living wood of the Fae. As long as they don this armor, they have the power and age of the Feywild in the mortal realm. Basically, they bring a section of the forest with them and keep it alive as
I
armor.
love that. Well, that's
Yeah,
kind of what I was trying to get at with like maybe a druid like crafts them a ring or something stupid.
yeah.
I love that more because that's a villain.
I imagine like once again going the Peter Pan thing. I imagine there's a king of the Fae, right? And she's like and it's like literally it is like a fucking like a kid. It is a kid with a fucking crown made out of woods and twigs. And she's like, all right, number 1 rule, you can't hurt the trees. Number 2, nap time is at 4 unless it's at 5 because I forgot. You know, like basically like these really childish rules that have like these like but like below like the childish veneer are like, no, this is like shit that you follow. You know? Because children are always tyrants. They don't know any better.
Oh, children are fucking psychopaths.
Yeah. So like there's just like maybe like there's just like this fake and it's always king because children don't understand gender. Sorry, they don't understand gender roles. Like societally
Yeah.
imposed ones. That I should clarify before any fucking rightoids find my chat. Um and so like it's always a king no matter what their fucking gender is. And like they have these very specific rules that they don't know why they follow, but they know that they're there for uh the play to be good. And some of the rules are like explicitly like, you know, like very specific, hey, don't do this. Bleh. But then some of them are like shit like, oh, like chocolate milk on Tuesdays, you know, like mixed in with like the really important rules are like bullshit silly
Yeah.
rules. Yeah.
No, totally. Like to me that gives a vibe of like that there's a larger force that drives the Feywild.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me this idea that maybe there's a larger force. Like does the Feywild have a deity? Or an equivalent of? Like maybe not a recognized, followed, and worshipped deity, but like the force of nature type spirit of the forest thing.
So the closest I think would probably be Lane, who is the goddess of magic, because she's the god of all magic, and she is the center point for all ley lines on the planet. And I imagined that, like, part of the reason why the Feywild exists is because wherever it, like, actually is in physical place, like, all of the ley lines probably travel through it. And they're probably all
Oh shit.
children because she's also the god of motherhood, yeah?
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Live. You're okay. Just because that's the biggest forest in your world. Those two forests that are one forest, right?
Yes. But it also connects to, like, other forests, like, around the world. But yeah, those those are
but
the
they connect through
instances
the
here. Yeah.
Feywild.
Yes, yes.
Is this an instance of like is there like where the ley lines in your world actually converge?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something there, like the original plant that spread out to make those forests? Maybe that's what's there, and that's why the Feywild is the way that it is. Like the
Yeah.
Feywild trees are related to this one.
Like,
Like
they all grew from
I'm not going to
seeds
say
of
a
that
world tree,
tree.
but I'm going to say a world tree.
No, yeah, no, I agree. World tree. World tree. No. Yeah, maybe this world tree, yeah, like all of these smaller trees are like made of seeds from that tree. Like,
Yeah, or just like descended from it somehow, like propagated or hybridized from it.
yeah. I so I actually do kind of like I like the idea that they're connected to the goddess of magic because the
Mhm.
goddess of magic she's the only, like, I don't want to say true god because they're all god, but like she's the only one that's not an ascended mortal, right?
Mhm.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, and she basically sleeps in the center of the earth, and I say earth, planet, you know what I mean. She sleeps in the center of the planet, and she, like, while her body is below the planet, her blood, because she during the war, like, she got, like, really fucked up, and she's part of the reason why people can ascend, because she was like, hey, I need mortals to help. I'm going to spread out the potential to ascend amongst all mortals. If you want to, like, try it, try it. If you have the potential to do so, you will ascend. Um, During the war, like, she was like one of the first, like, I don't want to say casualties because she didn't die, because gods can't really die, but she had to go back into the earth and just go dormant, and her blood spread through the land as ley lines, and
Mm.
fucking she's the god of magic, knowledge, and motherhood. Maybe because she died as, I don't say, I keep saying died. She didn't die. She incapacitated, because she got incapacitated as part of, like, the final battle, to, like, basically put a stop to the demons. Um, she never got to actually, like, become a mother herself, despite being the god of motherhood. So maybe this tree sprung up where, like, a big part of her blood congealed, and then
Yeah.
that leads to the Feywild because they're all her children. She wants to be a mother so bad, and as a result, where her blood is the thickest, her children come about.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's how it works.
I'm sure there's a better way to phrase it.
Yeah,
Like, but yes, I understand what you're saying. That's great. I love it.
yeah, like she's a. I mean, I like the idea of someone being the god of something, but because shit comes up, they don't get to it. Like, I like that as an idea. And I have, like, gods of, like, similar things, like the god of sisterhood, the gods of sisterhood, I should say. They don't like each other, and they're twin sisters. Yeah, well, like, I shouldn't say they don't like each other. They're upset. Like, they had a falling out, like, during the war, and now they don't talk very often, and they only really talk when one of them's having a depressive episode, because while they are
Isn't
upset,
that just siblingship in general?
it's kind of a toxic siblingship, but, like, it's like when one of them goes through a
Oh
depressive
well,
episode.
I guess I have something to
Yeah,
talk about in therapy then.
yeah. When they
Oops.
yeah, when
Sorry.
one of them has a depressive episode, the other one comes to, like, help, but then, like, once the episode's over, they're like, all right, later, going back to my domain, you know. Like, it's like they care about each other, but they're still upset at each other, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. The world tree that goes into the Feywild sprouts from her nose. No, shut up. No, I do think it's just, like, I think the tree might be growing from her actual wound. You know, like maybe she got like.
Do people know that this is how the Feywild works?
No. Basically, like this all happened so long ago, and because all of the gods are mortals, well, not like former mortals, I should say. Like they're not going to tell the story in a way that makes them look bad. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I think the only people who probably know the most are the followers of the moon goddesses, because the moon goddesses kind of feel like fuck ups. So when they tell the story, they kind of tell it to make, like, in a way that kind of makes them, like, look worse than they were. You know?
Because I'm thinking about our hypothetical Feywild villain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about how it seems like at least some people in your world know that you can make a god.
They are aware of the they're aware of the ability to become a god. They're aware of the potential.
So
mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if our hypothetical Feywild villain, maybe that's the driving force of going back to the Feywild.
He wants to become a god.
Like somehow this, like, or even like just inciting it in the first place. What if it's somebody who intentionally tried to inflict like whatever curse the Fae have on themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I'm interpreting it as a curse because it's people who are not Fae that become Fae.
Yeah, it is more or less a curse. Yeah.
Yeah, like a child that got captured in the Fae and escaped.
Mm-hmm.
Learns that there are paths to godhood,
and they want to
remembers the experiences of the Feywild,
and they want to become a god to like maybe they've got like leftover left what
they have
like
trauma. They were
yeah.
abducted into the Feywild.
Yeah, and like maybe like the conversion to a Fey like started but didn't finish.
Yeah.
So like
yeah,
they're kind of like in that in between space.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Maybe they want
maybe,
to. Maybe they want to.
Wholly,
sorry.
like maybe they still are like afflicted enough, like where there's like their understanding of the world isn't quite there yet. There's still a bit of a childish look on it. Maybe it's a little more developed than the other Fae. But maybe the drive isn't just like I'm a villain, I'm gonna fuck things up. Maybe it's literally like I am going to become a god of the Fae to protect all of the kids that got abducted by them.
Yeah. Maybe they have so maybe they recognize that. Oh, okay. Something that'd be interesting. So the god of the Fae, if it's technically Lane, even if the Fae don't understand that, like you can mantle your own god and replace them. Like that's happened before. What if this person they somehow find out like that at the base of the mother tree, which is what like Love Murder called it, and I really like that. I'm gonna keep that. They realize that the mother tree is growing out of the body of Lane. And they recognize that, hey, this god is basically insensate. And, like, we're her children, but she's ignoring us. And they feel very, very, like, upset by that. Because they don't understand that she's, essentially comatose from a stab wound. And so they try and mantle her and replace her as the god of the Fae, not realizing that Lane is also the god of the planet itself.
Yeah.
And if that happens, it's going to mess with some stuff.
So anyway, on season 2 of our D&D stream,
maybe I'll have to see where that goes. But yeah. Yeah, okay, so we fleshed out Lane a little. Shit, okay, she was the least fleshed out because she was just in a coma. So I was like, yeah, fuck it.
That's why we do this. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
See, what I was gonna say when I was about to interrupt you was, in a coma or consciousness spread out through the Fae?
I'm sorry, one more time?
Her consciousness? Like, is she in a coma or is her consciousness just spread out through the Fae?
Her consciousness is spread out through the ley lines.
Yes.
So wizards and such can make contact with her if there's a big enough confluence. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, cool. That gets to where that gets the answer I was looking for.
Okay. Fuck, we didn't even go back to the Nemeans. Goddamn. And then I'm gonna do the okay. So
I still want to talk about Parcats.
Yeah, we'll get to them. I'm sorry.
I still want to talk about dwarves.
Okay. Yeah. So after they met the goblins, the Nemeans spread out even more. You know, they got to River Break, they got to Elfreach, and they got to a place called Hubris that used to be called Spear Point. And it's there that they ran into the Dalens. Everyone else on Karos recognizes, do not fuck with the Dalen elves. They are elves with big fuck-off antlers that are supernaturally fast, supernaturally strong, and so long as you don't fuck with their trees, you're fine. Emperor Kazuo decided, I'm gonna fucking fight the elves. It did not go well. Huh?
What?
What? What'd you say?
Sorry, I was just being silly.
Okay. Yeah, it did not go well. It decimated their army. It actually got their king killed. It basically caused the entirety of their culture to realign. So it used to be they were a strictly imperialist, like, fucking go for it kind of beat, right? And then afterwards, they realized that, hey, Kazuo brought us to this new world, but it's clear that, like, his hubris fucking got ahead of him, and he was punching way above his belt. And so they completely reorganized, they pulled back, they renamed the place to Hubris so they would remember. And then his daughter, Empress Steelmane, she basically established a meritocracy where basically, like, it's a strict meritocracy as well. Like, you do not get a job unless you prove that you can do it. Even her job is up for claim as well. Like, she has 4 children, and each one of them, like, if they want to succeed her, they have to prove that they can do the job, and none of them have done it yet. She is 150 years old, and she's reaching the point where most emperors would abdicate by this point, but, like, her children have not proven themselves. Because of that, this is also the place where most adventurers come from, because what's the best way to prove that you're, like, capable than being an adventurer and traveling across, like, the known continent, right? A lot of adventurers come back once they're done with their thing and they've got, like, some achievements under their belt, and they get, like, government jobs and stuff, right? So it's basically a country run almost entirely by adventurers.
It sounds like a terrible idea. Adventurers are dumb as shit.
They need to prove that they're like, it's the kind of adventure where, like, you have to prove that you're cordial, that you can make diplomatic relations. Not like, yeah, I'm just gonna murder hobo my way through and kill a dragon, but no, like, I'm going to negotiate a peace kind of beat, you know? So, like, if you guys came back to the Empire,
negotiations with my fists before.
Yeah, like if you guys came back to the Empire, like, or like if any of you were from there, you probably would not get a job beyond, say, like, Royal Guard, you know what I mean?
Understood.
But, like, say, like, a cleric who's, like, really good
there's gotta be military jobs that we'd be suited for.
Yeah, like, yeah, that's also true. Yeah, like, military stuff would probably be, like, once again, like, there's so they have, like, Adventurers Guild breath, because Kislan's breath are fast. All of the exploits of adventurers get back to the guild, and then those get back to the central guild in the Empire. And then, like, when they return, they're like, hey, like, here's my thing, whatever. They cross-reference, and they're like, hey, so based on your adventuring experience, you'd be really good for this military position that's opened up, or you'd be really good for this political job that's opened up, or etc. You know what I mean? It's all, like, what position you hold is based on your exploits. And some people never come back. Some people just adventure until they die, and that's fine too, because the guild takes a cut of the contract, right? Like, you know, of course, like, you don't tell the adventurer that, right? Like, but everyone knows, it's just no one tells the adventurer. And then that money comes back, and that's part of their export. A lot of their export is adventurers. And they're honestly, like, really great, and they're all about Like, if you are able to earn something, they're on the pension, like, you deserve it. Like, it's pure meritocracy. To the point where when the Republic was doing their rebellion, the Empire noticed, hey, you guys are, like, shooting at, like, a massive disadvantage here, and you're still going for it. Like, fuck, alright. Hey, let's make this fair. And then it sent them adventurers at, like, a discounted rate, as well as a shitload of weapons. Because they're all about, like, this fight has to be fair if it's going to happen. You know, like, very much, like, that sort of, like, honor, merit kind of shit. And I like them a lot, and it's
how do they feel about the fact that every other society isn't like that? Like, how do they feel about, like, visitors and stuff that don't adhere to that kind of moral?
If you come to the Empire and you try and enforce a non-meritocratic system, like, if you come in and you're like, I'm a noble, I deserve, like,
exactly,
prove it. Like, that's literally like that. Like,
so, like, are they going to be like the people who like you say you're a noble, you sure don't act noble, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Like, if a noble comes in, it's like, I am a noble, I deserve better accommodations than this tavern room. The innkeeper will just throw down a sword and be like, all right, prove it.
This is the Nemean Empire?
Yeah.
Oh god, that's gonna be so fun in our game.
I hope you guys go there, like, because it's, like, literally, like, it is...
Well, I want to see what they're gonna react when, like, when they're up against capitalists. Like, where does merit go when it's like, okay, I can buy you all day long. Like, I can pay for everything in your life to just stop happening. Like, merit doesn't matter when the other empire can buy out every single resource, right?
I mean...
I want to see these interactions.
I mean, here's the fun thing. Like, fucking, they don't... Like, they literally don't really use coin beyond, like... So they of course use coin for international trade because they recognize that everyone else is meritocratic, right? But it's like if you come in and it's like, I will buy this town, it's like, it's not for sale. If you want ownership of this town, you have to fight me one-on-one. Like, it's like of course, like, you know, people, like, do, like, trading and stuff, because, like, if they just did a barter economy, or if you had to fight someone for a loaf of bread, that, like, society would fall apart, right? But, like, basically they view...
yeah, but there's gifting, there's the gifting economy.
Yeah, that too. Gold is a fine metal, but a poor armor. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, that is literally, like, what the Nemeans would say. Yeah.
I read that, and my immediate thought was that you should just keep Rose on hand for inspiration.
Yeah.
The way that you two vibe in, like, in this, like, the vibe here is amazing. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, like, the Nemeans, like, I don't want to say they're, like, because they're not socialists, but, like, they believe that a fair day's work is a fair day's pay. And if that pay is in gold so that you can then, like, trade it with someone else or something else you need, cool. If it's a roof over your head, also cool. If it's food, also, like, basically, like, when you do work for a Nemean, it's like, hey, do you want me to provide this thing I can provide? Or if I can't provide it, do you want this gold you can trade for that thing? Like,
so
how much...
I think we shouldn't get too deep into this conversation.
Probably
because
not.
It's gonna get kind of fucky.
It's gonna get spoilery. Yeah.
Well, not even spoilery. It's just I don't think that we are qualified to start getting into the depth that I want to about how their semi-socialist society functions and is beneficial to all of their people.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the political knowledge and understanding of economies to actually back up anything I'll say.
Yeah, I have a decent bit, but not that much. I think the only issue with the Nemeans that, like, I kind of have to, like, hand wave away is, like, oh, what do you do if someone's an invalid? And it's like, I mean, they can do other stuff, you know? Like, that's really, like, the only response I had to this. Like, they can do other things. Like, if someone...
That's kind of why I was saying we should probably step away from getting too in-depth, because I was about to be like, I imagine the society's really good to the disabled.
So... if that person has, like,
that's where it's going to get into the complexity that we don't necessarily need to figure out for a playful
What I'm going to say
right
is, if that person has an ability that they can do that isn't physical, like, say, if they're smart, or if they're a good orator, or, like, because they value art, right? They value art, they value creativity as well. Like, if you can do something, someone in Nemea finds it useful and they are willing to pay you for like a equal thing for the work you put in. Like that's really where I'll leave it for them. Yeah, they're my favorite. They're unironically my favorite. Just because it's like, I don't know, it's like how meritocracy should work. Oh shit. Thank you for the gift sub, Linen. Okay, but the dwarves, right? So the dwarves are interesting because, so they are a combination of crystal and sediment. Right? You would say that they're very like they're so they are from the island that it used to be called the Selenian Magocracy, and when they are born, like they of course do the same as like any other species, but when they are born, they are a small crystal heart, right? And that crystal can be any sort of gemstone. The gemstone usually relates back to like their parents, right? So if their mother was a ruby and their dad was an emerald, they could be, one or the other. And that crystal, they take it to a small cave with a bunch of sedimentary rocks. They bury it, and the crystal, grows out like it does, creates the circulatory system and all that, and then and it attracts sedimentary rocks that are of the right.
Wait,
like,
hold on.
Yes.
What you said is amazing to me.
What?
Because I'm gonna say how I just interpreted. I'm sorry that I always interject like this, but it's just it's really fun to like. For me, it's a fun thing to interpret like what some like in this kind of world building to offer what I interpret what they said. Because I want to know if I got it right and if I'm on the same page. But you said they plant like a crystal. They plant the baby dwarf.
Yes, like they bury it in like a
they
cave.
Plant their dwarf seed.
Yes.
They plant the crystal.
Yes.
And the circulatory system crystallizes out of that crystal.
Yes, because that's their heart. Yeah, it's a heart stone.
Yes. Cool. That's amazing.
Mm.
Does that mean that it's like their flesh and body and stuff is made up of the surrounding dirt that is encompassed by the circulatory system?
Yes.
Like they literally use the earth to build the body?
Yes, and a dwarf can tell like where another dwarf is from based on the sediment on their body. Yeah.
Yeah, just give that hand a lick and see if it's volcanic or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So it grows out. So the circular system grows out. It's about the size of like a human baby, right? And then it starts attracting sediments and all that. And once the dwarf has enough sediment and rocks and like other things like on it to basically make a sufficiently sized like 4-year-old, I guess. The dwarf will dig themselves out. And of course, like the dwarves are very fastidious people, so they kind of like know how long this takes. So like they'll come back and they'll get their kid like right about as they're starting to dig themselves out. And then as a dwarf grows,
is that like an inherent knowledge that they have,
yes.
Or is that
dwarves are
an
really
experience?
Good at, I mean,
is it a biological instinct or is it an experience based? We know how long this takes.
Kind of both.
Okay.
Like some dwarves like get the time wrong and like they're there like and they have to wait a couple hours, and some of them are like they get there like as this baby dwarf is sitting there being like very confused, like what the fuck. But like for the most part, based on experience and like a biological urge of like, oh, hang on a minute, it's biology and like mortal timekeeping. So sometimes they get it wrong.
Yeah. Rose said something that sounds amazing, so I would like to touch on that when you're done saying what you are about to.
Oh, hang on. The parents take shifts standing by their crystal chrysalids, speaking their hopes of their child, planting their favorite. I imagine that is probably something that dwarven families do. I'm talking
that's
like
what I wanted to touch on specifically was the planting their favorite minerals.
Yeah, I imagine
is there a culture of like trying to like how in real life people are like, oh, if you fuck in this position you'll have a boy. Is it like make sure you put granite where the head should be so you get a girl?
You know what? You know what? Yeah, I will. You know what? I'm making that a thing. Yeah, like I imagine it's like, oh, play some. Oh fuck, what's that like really stringy magnetic rock?
Stringy magnetic rock?
Like it's on like it's on like Diglett's head in fucking Pokemon Sun and Moon. Pele's Tears, that's the bitch.
Oh, I don't
Like
know
if you
that.
plant like if you plant like Pele's Tear in the right place, you'll get a boy dwarf. Magnetite? Hang on, fucking. Am I stupid?
See, that's the thing too. What Rose just said makes me wonder, like, would there be like it's a D&D world, so like I'm gonna say mechanical benefit to being a different type of stone? Like are like in the way that D&D has Warforged. And the different type of Warforge, at least in at one point, the different type of Warforge had different
what the
benefits.
fuck? Hang on. Alolan Diglett. What the fuck is on Alolan Diglett's head? Like, okay, so I don't know how much. I mean, I don't know how much you know about Pokemon, but like, you know, like Sun and Moon added like Diglett with hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like that's like a real thing. Like apparently, like there's like volcanic stone that like looks like hair.
I believe it.
Yeah, and like it's like that. Like if you plant that in the right place, you'll get like a girl or boy dwarf because it'll like give them a beard, right?
That would be cute.
Yeah. Um. But yeah,
I
like
also do like the fact that the idea that maybe dwarves don't have genders because they're minerals.
I think they don't have biological sex, but I think they have gender.
Yes.
I think they have gender just like because like gender roles, and like
Yeah,
maybe they
absolutely.
don't
I mean,
translate to male or hang on, maybe they don't
totally.
translate to male or female in the dwarven language, but for convenience sake, they just label it for everyone else.
If
You know?
anyone wants a really fun depiction of gender in sexless dwarves,
Mm-hmm.
um, Discworld does it amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Icy basically. Okay. Icy took what I said, what I wanted to say, and actually fucking made it intelligible instead of whatever the fuck I just said. Um. If you were to translate dwarven minerals to
Oh,
genders, they would have hundreds,
that's
if
cool.
not
That's a
more.
great
Yeah,
idea.
the concept does not map cleanly over because dwarves contain many minerals. The dwarven language is well suited for these kinds of nuances, but if they talk common, they'll pick something close enough. Yeah, like that is what I meant. That is what I meant. I just didn't know how to say it. Basically, like a dwarf's gender is based on like they don't have like a biological sex. Like
Your
they're like
chat is amazing right now. I
yeah,
love them.
it's because like they spend enough time with me. They know how my brain works. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, like so like biological sex, I don't think dwarves really give a shit. It's mostly just like they're like as they're developing, their junk will just develop into an innie or an outie, you know? Um and that's just like a convenience thing.
Hold on. So how close to being a mineral are they though?
Hang
Can they,
hmm?
in their convenience of things, just alter their body? Like, can they just chisel out a different piece if they want it?
Um I was gonna say no because their outer layer is very spongy like flesh.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So then they can't have carvings for tattoos.
I mean they probably could. It's just like it's a spongy, fleshy layer, but it's still a type of stone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so it's like if you were to look at
Fleshy stone is such a weird concept, but fantasy world, so
yeah.
whatever.
Like if you were to look at Kiro's character, Lorson, you would see like, oh, it's a dwarf. It's got like pale skin, etc. But like if he like if you skinned him, which I would not recommend doing, it'd be
Oh, I forgot that Lorson was a dwarf.
yeah, if you skinned him, it'd be rock underneath.
Huh. Does Lorson know this?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't know
Lorson
that Lorson knows a lot of things.
I don't honestly, I feel like Lorson
Oh,
doesn't
no, no.
know.
I feel like that would be one of those areas. You know how I was saying I think Larson's
Hmm.
probably smart about certain things?
Yeah.
I bet, like, actual dwarvish things, like, maybe not, like, the actual, like, like, the scientific, like, biology, but, like, I bet Lorson knows enough about his own
Yeah.
biology to be like, yeah, I have rock under here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I imagine he probably doesn't know why though, because he said himself that He was an orphan taken in by the paladins of Kisalan.
Oh, okay, okay.
So he probably
I didn't remember that bit.
Yeah, so he probably doesn't know exactly how the fuck his biology works. He just knows, maybe he just knows that, like, hey, if I, like, bleed, it, like, turns to crystals after a bit. They could get
I'm
inlays
so
of
excited for when the rest of the party learns that fact.
Yeah. If you prefer to get inlays of gems for tattoo, I imagine dwarven tattoo work is probably, like, insane. Dwarves are a type of ultra-advanced slime mold. They are mostly minerals inside a thin protective layer. I don't know. I don't know that. I think maybe their skin is a. I think maybe their skin is a type of symbiotic slime mold. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, like, or some type of like lichen.
Yeah, like it's like maybe it's
Yeah.
like their skin is like mitochondria. You know, it's like a thing that used to be a separate thing, but like over just many generations of evolution, like it's just kind of become like a thing you just have. You know?
It's land coral.
Yeah.
What if the fleshy layer is literally what you're describing? It's a symbiotic organism that makes up that on the outside of the rock. Like that, to me, that reads like coral.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Because there's corals that are kind of spongy and fleshy when they're not fucked up. When they're alive, they're really neat.
Yeah, it's like a symbiotic slime mold kind of thing, and like fucking if a dwarf carves like a tattoo into themselves, like they like the coral just doesn't grow back over it to leave room for the carving.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I like that. Yeah, let me actually finish like dwarven biology. So the dwarf. So I imagine like you can just like leave a dwarf to grow and you can just come get it. But like basically like that'd be like your super dismissive parents that like kind of just don't give a shit. Be like, oh, the baby's done. All right, we're going to the birthing cave. All right. But I imagine like the majority of parents who actually give a shit about their kid, they probably do like come down to the cave and there's probably like little markers for like each dwarf. And they go to their kid's marker and they like read them a story. They plant, like their favorite types of stone to like try and encourage certain growth things. Maybe like you have people who do stuff like, oh, I'm gonna put like Pele's hair here to like hope I get a boy, or I'm gonna put it here and hope I get a girl, etc., etc. Maybe some like druidic dwarves, like they plant grass over top. Like maybe like they can incorporate grass.
I have a cool one. I have a cool one.
Yeah.
Very cool one. Very, very cool one for druids.
Mm-hmm.
Fossils.
That also would be cool, yeah.
Yeah. Because then you could be incorporating like petrified woods and like fossilized animal matter into like the druidic dwarf. Like he's literally made up of the things that he can turn into.
Yeah, that would be really fun actually.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I was gonna ask that, like, would things like that, like we're saying like it affects like their appearance and stuff, but would it affect their aptitude to that extent? Like
I have to imagine it would. I have to imagine it would, yeah. Like it's not like a guarantee, like, oh, if you put like a piece of petrified wood, the dwarf would be a really good woodworker. I imagine it's probably just like the thing of like if you play classical music for a baby, like there's a chance that they'll have like a good sense of rhythm. Like that's not like guaranteed. Some babies just have really shit sense of rhythm. But like, you know what I mean?
Can I offer you a sub race?
Okay.
Dwarves that have intentionally figured out what minerals or materials cause certain effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like a subsect of dwarves that have intentionally figured that out, or accidentally, or whatever. But they have formed a specific, like, right now I'm thinking the trope of dwarves are clerics.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm imagining a sect of cleric dwarves that fill this trope where they figured out that a certain material, or maybe even like a blessed material, like a blessed material, or maybe this is in a similar vein to the Feywilds, where a god fell and has affected the nature of the Feywilds. Maybe there is a specific place where a sect of like there's a cleric sect of dwarves know that this material, this holy ground, is the body of a god or the blood of a god has infected the ground here, and that's where they raise their clerics from to be closer to their god.
Yeah, I guess. Though I do think that like I do like the idea that it's like not like one to one. Like if you plant a bunch of
no, I'm not entirely suggesting that makes them like
it's just
gives
like a
them
cultural
the powers
practice.
Of clerics. Yes, I'm suggesting that like they figured out that like I guess
So
like, there'd have to be a specific thing that happens with this, like, with that material that makes them, like, different somehow. But I don't necessarily mean that it makes them a cleric, but, like, it makes them their sub-genre of dwarf.
It's something that, like, I can figure out, like, later. But, like, another thing, so, like, when the dwarf, so, like, so, like, the dwarves, like, you know, like, a lot of families will, like, bring stuff there to, like, influence the thing. But here's the thing, because dwarves are sedimentary, as they grow, right, they're taking on, like, the sediments of the stuff around them as they're going. So, like, if a dwarf spends enough time in one place, their outer layer of stone, like, is going to be made of a different stone than the stone they were born. Right?
Oh, absolutely. That only makes sense.
So, basically, like, if you're
especially if it's like a coral type thing, it would be picking up the it's building that layer out of the different minerals of the environment they're currently in.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that makes very sense.
Wouldn't that mean the dwarves have tree rings? Exactly. That is exactly what I'm talking about.
So if we cut off Lorson's leg, we'll see how old he is.
You would literally be able to see how old he is, yes.
I love it.
Yeah, you can tell where dwarves...
I think that this stream is required reading for our group.
I mean, maybe. Potentially. But yeah.
Is there a chance you can do a write-up on some of this so everybody can know it?
I mean,
I don't want to make you do work. You can just give them the link to this and say, hey, if you want to watch this, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say it's good. It's been fun. It's been fun for me. I hope the audience is enjoying this.
I mean, so far it seems like people are having fun. I would hope so. We have a decent number of people here. All right. But yeah, so like as the dwarf grows, like they get like bits. But here's the fun thing, and this is why they got enslaved. So when dwarves die, traditionally, so the body is useless. The body is just useless stone, right? The body is basically just, like, buried and fucking, like, basically turned into more sediment, and then it's dumped into the birthing cave, right? Yes. From, like, basically, like, the sediment that you took from the birthing cave, plus the interest of, like, the sediment you picked up as you were walking around doing your life. Except for the Heartstone. The Heartstone is removed. And... the Heartstones of dwarves are very, very interesting because it's believed by the dwarves that that's where their soul is. It's a literal soul gem.
So what the fuck have the wizards been doing with these dwarves' soul stones? Heartstones.
So, Heartstones, per dwarven tradition, they are kept in a family mausoleum, and a dwarf can go to, like, traditionally, before the mages showed up, a dwarf could go to the mausoleum. And if they meditated in a room surrounded by the heartstones of their ancestors, they could receive visions, advice, and like they have like a very mild psionic effect, right?
Okay.
So, but because of this magical effect and the fact that they contain the dwarves' souls,
oh no! Somebody crushed them up to make boner pills, didn't they?
The mages found out that they make very good casting foci.
Okay.
And as
close.
But you can also use them as potion ingredients, and also to make magic weapons.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah. So...
wow! Oh, Liv, you keep feeding me character concepts.
So, fun fact, a dwarven arcane caster doesn't need a casting focus, because they can use their own heartstone.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You gave me a really cool character concept. Can I share it with you? Or would you like me to wait?
Let me finish real quick.
Yes, I will wait.
So, the dwarves, the dwarves at what the place is now called the Selenian Magocracy, they were in a really interesting position because they were a ancient dwarven empire. They had multiple clans of multiple centuries worth of heartstones, like just sitting in mausoleums. They are above a ley line conflux, which is very good for wizarding.
Mhm.
And they were relatively isolationist compared to everyone else because this was all happening before the Nemean Empire showed up, meaning that the closest thing was Krestingrov across the Sea of Krestin, which is like relatively far away compared to the Nemean Empire, where like it's like right there, right? But the Nemeans weren't there yet. This was like empty land that just had goblin tribals on it. So the mages from Selenia showed up and just completely conquered it. They enslaved the dwarves, and they essentially bred the dwarves to basically be mining slaves. And
Yes.
and then also like whenever a dwarf would die, or if one of them just needed a heartstone, they would kill a dwarf and take their heartstone.
Yes.
And this
Okay, so they're using they use that collection of their ancestors as casting foci for their order.
casting foci, alchemical ingredients, and fuel sources for magic weapons.
Cool.
And it
Yes,
was
you have confirmed that there is a potential character that I can give you.
and
I
it
love
was
this idea.
and it was long believed by the mages the dwarves could not be mages, and that they were just wasting all of this magical potential they had with their heartstones. Until dwarven mages started being born. And the mages kind of had an issue because they had set up a thing where, hey, if you can cast magic, you become a citizen because it's a magocracy.
Okay,
And the dwarves did have their own magic, but it was mostly druidic and what they called shamanism. Turns out their shamanistic magic was basically just sorcery. Once dwarves started being born and then like got their hands on some spell books, those sorcerers turned into wizards, meaning that they were therefore owed citizenship by the Selenians.
So it's literally just a case of they had the magic and could do the magic.
They
just
didn't
had
have
to
the
do
right
it.
kind. They didn't have the right way.
Yeah, they had to do it in the language that their oppressors spoke.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
the Selenians were like, well, okay, well, it's only a few dwarves. It's fine. We'll teach these dwarves our way, and then the other dwarves would be like, well, okay, this sounds totally fair. Basically brainwash them, like the Canadians did to the Native Americans. Right?
Absolutely.
And then that didn't really take because dwarves are very, very prideful in their culture, and the dwarven mages, of course, recognized, what the fuck? This is like my grandpa's heart. What the fuck are you doing? And then eventually, an archmage was a dwarf, and the archmage is the person in charge. The Selenians elected The Selenians elected this dwarf as archmage, believing that she would basically calm the dwarves down. But like, she loves her people, but she also was basically raised by mages, so she's kind of in a tough spot. So she's elevated the dwarves up so that they have a lot closer to like equal standing as far as the law is concerned. But as far as the culture is concerned, they see dwarves as second-class citizens. But also, their leader is a dwarf. Their beloved leader is a dwarf. Because they like her, because she is the brightest wizard of her generation. But she's also a dwarf. So like, there's like kind of like this weird like racial cold war going on in Selenia, in the Selenian Magocracy, and it's great. Love it.
May I offer you a character?
Yes, you may.
May I offer you a character? Can I propose a dwarf for you?
Okay, and murder? Yes, you can. Yeah, Lennon, what you got?
So there's wizards suck.
Yes.
They just like power. Like that's the thing. Like they go after power. They want powerful magic. They want the most powerful. Yeah. Well, yeah, wizard trope in general too.
Yeah.
A lot of wizards are power hungry. That's a trope. And power corrupts, and you end up with like wizards that do fucked up things for a little bit, just a little bit more power, just a little, like an extra D4 on their magic missile.
Yeah.
Like I'm where I'm trying to get is like they edge into like an area of cruelty at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see there having been a wizard who took the Heartstone out of whoever the previous like leadership of the dwarves was.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something you are almost implying. That's Heartstones have been made into like fuel sources for magic items.
Yeah.
How fun would it be for somebody who's already a fucked up wizard who wants like a nice powerful item to hold a staff made of the Heartstone of the leader that you just conquered?
Oh shit. Oh fuck.
Wizards, they're cocky. They're that Heartstone, that's in that staff. They didn't crush it up. They didn't make it a fuel source. They made it the staff.
Hmm.
So the character I'm proposing is a descendant who finds this item and connects to it.
Recovers.
And that's the character.
Yes,
that's the character for
I'm very much in favor of that. The older the stone
I
a
don't
dwarf
know
is.
what they do, if they're good or bad or anything, or what period of time, but you can have them.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that. The older the stone a dwarf is made of, the more powerful they are for various divisions of power. King of Dwarves is made of the heart rock of the deep mountain. So yeah, I would imagine like for the ancient dwarves, because they were like very much your traditional like dwarven monarchy. I imagine that the royal birthing chamber is probably like deep in the heart of the mountain for that exact reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see. I do.
That just lends to the thing I just said, because then you could have like, if they're made of a special thing.
Yeah.
That Heartstone would have be connected to the. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
perhaps royals, the royal dwarves, their Heartstones are diamonds. Like, you know, like
see, it would be, and then like over time, they've been slaves for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've lost their royalty a bit. It would make sense if maybe one day a Dwarven Archmage doesn't understand that the staff they're holding is a diamond Heartstone and not some other gem.
Yeah, maybe the knowledge of because like the diamond Heartstone was like one bloodline, so like
yeah,
maybe she just like she's like, oh yeah, like the Heartstones can be like rubies, emeralds, topazes, like whatever, right? Like I saw a guy who had a bismuth Heartstone once. That was weird.
That sounds.
Yeah.
That sounds like the most easy way to make like your stoner dwarf.
Yeah.
I just immediately bismuth heart dwarf is stoner dwarf to me. I don't know why.
Oh, that's great. What if the evil wizard was a dwarf? They made their Heartstone into a phylactery and turned it into a staff. Anyone who tunes your wrist is having a person. Yo! Okay.
Holy shit.
Dwarf, okay. Okay, I'm making like a dwarven like thing that's just Stone Lich. It's a dwarf only thing. Yes.
Yeah, Stone Lich is fucking wild.
How would dwarves in this setting view bloodlines? They don't really view it so much as bloodlines as they view like basically like your what gem your blood is determines is your like bloodline. Like that was a lot more important in the back in the day. So like back in the day they would have like different hierarchies. So like a super common. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, the way I was understanding this was kind of like, for the most part, dwarves don't have bloodlines other than the royalty, because the royalty have the birthing chamber.
And they're diamonds.
So it's more the environment than the bloodline.
Well, I mean, your Heartstone is determined by your parents. So, like that's where I'm coming from. So like
I see. I get it now.
Yeah, so like in the
how does a Heartstone propagate? Where do you get a new one then?
A Heartstone is made by dwarves doing the do.
Okay, so they still do have like a form of sexual reproduction at a certain point.
Yeah. So like basically like
I would love I'm not suggesting this is the way that it should be in your world, but I would love a version of a dwarf that has these rules where their version of doing it is sitting down and chiseling out a rock to be the shape of the heart for their child. And that it's a process that's like a magical process between the two individuals that's also like a biological reaction to doing that event together. So it's still a biological, like, their version of sex, but it's not sexual. It's like just wholesome.
Yeah. I imagine it's like there's like a part of it's like they have like the thing where they, you know, they do it. And like they're so I said circulatory system before, but like their Hearthstone is basically like it's a combination of circulatory system, digestive, basically like the rest of the dwarf.
The framework.
Yeah, like the rest of the dwarf is like extra, you know, like everything that is not the crystal is extra, right? The dwarf is the crystal network within, right? That's how I've kind of been internalizing it.
Like it's a similar interpretation in how I'm reading what you're saying, that you're not your meat sack, you're your nervous system.
Exactly. Yeah, and dwarves just kind of take that to like a whole new thing. Right?
Yeah, that for them it's literal. Their flesh isn't them. They're just the structure supporting the setting.
Yeah. And when two dwarves couple, right, for lack of a better term, to just for Twitch sake, their heart networks, for lack of a better term, connect, and they start like, you know, they link up, and like the souls kind of intertwine, and they like, you know, make the new soul. I don't know how that works. It's metaphysics. Who cares, right? And then so we said before the dwarves don't really have like gender that maps exactly. So like one of them, it doesn't matter which. It could be the one that like identifies as male in fucking common, or the one that identifies as female. Who cares, right? Like dwarves, when dwarves do it, it's like it does not matter whether it's two dude dwarves, for lack of a better term, or two girl dwarves, for lack of a better term, or if it's like a guy and a girl or whatever, right? Because once again, dwarves have basically as many genders as there are rocks, right? It doesn't matter. And then one of them carries the stone while it gestates, and then later the stone is ejected, for lack of a better term, and then they bury it. And before they bury it, like, you know, maybe they do like that carving thing. Maybe that's like a ritual. Maybe they carve the dwarf's name on the, like they name their kid and they carve the name on the heartstone. Like maybe that's a thing. Doesn't mean if a dwarf loses an arm.
This is so fun. I love this.
In Dwarvish culture, giving your heart to some. I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, go ahead. Finish what you're doing.
In Dwarvish culture, giving your heart to someone is a literal thing. Marriage involves a process that takes like a small patch of your partner's heartstone and grafting it. Oh, that's cute. I don't know, like.
And very permanent. That's interesting.
Maybe dwarves mate for life. Like,
but what if they don't? And there's an acceptance that, like, there's an acceptance of your partner's past if they remarry. Like, it's a bigger thing. Like, it's an acceptance of not only them, but everything they've experienced.
Okay, so here's a thought.
Which means like remarrying would be like a bigger thing than actual marriage, and would probably be very uncommon.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, so dwarves. So like I'm thinking like when two dwarves get married, they so like they cut their wrists, right, or something. They cut,
maybe not that imagery.
Maybe not that imagery. Like maybe like I don't know. They cut some part of their skin, right, to like get to the crystal underneath, and then they put the wounds together. And then they do their vows, and like while they're doing this, like the crystals kind of like seek each other out, and then they do that grafting part. So like a part of you is always with your partner and vice versa.
Hold on. It doesn't have to be a ring. It doesn't have to be a ring, but that's how you could get the equivalent of their, like, the wedding ring, like a jewel, and a thing that shows their like their commitment in a jewelry. Is the cut, the wound.
Oh, like the wound doesn't. The wound seals up with your partner's heartstone.
Yeah.
So like.
So like. Maybe it's like the back of their hand. They puncture the backs of their hands and hold them together, and like.
And then like they fill in each other with each other's stone.
Yeah.
So like if your wife or husband or whatever
wouldn't even
has...
just be each other's stone. It would be like a mix of the two minerals.
Okay, I'm on there.
The crystallization would have to happen through each other into the other person.
Yeah, I like that. So like literally, if you see a dwarf and they have like a what looks like just a gem embedded into the back of their hand, it's a combination of them and their partner's heartstone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. I like that. God, does that mean that like interspecies marriage is like frowned upon in dwarf culture then? I wonder.
I think that like any culture, there would be people who would care a lot and people who would think that it's nonsense.
God, I'm just imagining.
Like, I'm sure there's dwarves that's just like, yeah, but that's just a biological process. That doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's a thing you can do with another dwarf. I can't do it with a human, but I still love my human.
I'm just imagining like this really cute like dwarven gemsmith. Like she's just like she like cuts her palm and like leaks out like some of her heartstone like into like a little thing, and she just like creates like this really beautiful like wedding ring, and she like gives it, and she just proposes to like her wife or husband or whatever with it.
Yeah, that's so cute. They could still have that actual meaningful connection, but like the wound that would heal on the back of the dwarf's hand would have to be treated a certain way, and then it would only be their gem, but they'd be able to give a portion of their gem as a jewelry to like their non-dwarf partner.
Yeah, like that'd be like super sweet.
Yeah, I bet that in certain dwarven sections that would be frowned upon.
Yeah. But like giving away your heartstone like for nothing in return, kind of thing.
But it would be possible, and it would be meaningful.
Yeah,
this is what I like when I was talking earlier about how like just building the cultures instead of like like we're building a culture, we're building traditions, we're building these ideas out of their biology, out of the nature of their world.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like, well, they're just fantasy Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, like I hate that shit. And like I really like this.
Love world building with you. This is so fun.
But hang
I was going to say something. Oh, good. Finish. Sorry. I sent you a DM really quick if you can check that.
I see. Okay.
Continue your thought.
Okay, if you want to, yeah. Oh, we never got to the carriage cats.
We're gonna have to do another one of these. It's okay.
Yeah, fair.
We'll absolutely do another one.
Oh,
if you're okay with that,
no, like I love doing this. Hang on, I'm gonna send you another DM that like I don't want to say out loud because it might be a spoiler for the Monday again, but I'm okay telling you because maybe you'll forget, or and also you're good at keeping secrets.
I don't have any memory. It's okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say I would love to do one of these with our whole group.
Yeah. Oh god.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. And it would explain why he's where he is. Yeah, sorry.
No, that actually makes so much sense. That's
Yeah. Yeah, so like
I'll send you some DMs later about that because I have some ideas.
All right.
But yeah.
Shit, I don't have a wrap up in my brain. Fuck. Quick, ninja smoke bomb. I don't know what to do.
Fucking go to a different screen. Go to an ending screen. Hold on. Like not an ending screen. Go to your desk.
Okay, I'm at my desk. Hello. Yes.
Okay. Hi. So
shit.
This was fun, guys. We have to wrap up because I have to go.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. I had a lot of fun, Liv. I really liked doing this.
Yeah.
World building is so interesting with you, and I love that you let me interject and warp your world a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. I now want to see a human widower of a dwarf. They were an adventuring party. The human was shot through the heart, and the dwarf gave their heartstone as a transplant. The dwarf died, and the human now has a heart of stone. Oh, no! Oh, that's super...
That's cool.
That would be super cute. And it would probably work, because the heartstone, while it isn't, like, a true heart, like, I imagine it could replicate most of the function. Like, if
I think you'd have to do a wizardry to it.
Yeah, like literally, like, you would need to find a way to keep the person alive while the crystal network spread.
Yeah.
Maybe it grants this person, like, some sort of sorceress ability as well.
What if it's not exactly a transplant, but, like, implantment? Like, the heart, the human heart is still there.
It's just, like...
But it's damaged.
Yeah. And the heartstone
and then the
dwarven,
is, like, the heartstone is, like, yes, patching it up.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be super cute. And then you could, like, give the,
and then, like,
human...
over time, like, maybe that human, over time, their whole, like, the way we were saying the circulatory system is made up of the crystals, maybe that, like, spreads?
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, human hybridization.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, and, like, they're... What if that's something that can be... What if that's something that dwarves do? Like, if a dwarf's loved one dies, they'll willingly, like, sacrifice their heartstone to, like, repair someone else. And, like, the dwarf was just doing, like, they were just panicking, and they were just doing something that they know works for dwarves, but they didn't think it through. They're just like, no, I love this person, I want them to live, take my heartstone.
Yeah, it would be so, like, that would be wild to, like, that needs more fleshing out.
It does.
To figure out how that would work. Let's do this again.
Yes, we should. Fuck.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey guys, my name's Lennon, I'm a goblin. This is me, pitching myself for a second. You can find me at the Goblin Burrows. It's probably tagged somewhere on the screen. I'm getting back to my normal streams in about a week or so you can see me Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, at some time in the day.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Yep.
So, I apologize for cutting things short. I apologize for my quick, blunt sign-off. But I love you all.
Bye, Lennon.
Be nice to live for me. Bye.
Yeah, bye. I'm gonna... Oh, Lennon's actually just dropped out of the call straight up. Okay, that's good. Alright, shit, I didn't want to talk about the carriage cats, fuck, but, like, Lennon helped me make them, so, like, I don't want to do it while Lennon's not here, damn it. Shit, fart, even. That one's gone, we could be mean to live. No! No! But yeah, I really like this world. It's been, like, my brainworm for, like, the last several years. I'm really glad I get to do stuff with it now. I have so much. Y'all, I have so fucking much in my brain, like, about this world. Like, the fact that I actually get to, like, talk about it now, and the fact that I get to run a game set in there, like, fug, dude. Very transpilled, happy D&D, sir. Yes. Gimme. Please do though. No. Yeah, no. I'll wait. I'll wait until next time we do one of these. I'll show the stat block at the very least. Alright. Okay, so this is a carriage cat. I don't, like, they look... I mean, this is a baby carriage cat. Baby carriage cat, very small. Very small, they're, like, the size of your palm. And then you got the adults that are, like, the size of, like, a small horse. Very fluffy, very grumpy. They are a medium creature. They've got 6, so this is like your default carriage cat, like before like someone's like put armor on it or like it's been trained for war. It's like your like default like run of the mill like what you'd find like a your average goblin having, right? 11 AC for their natural armor, 16 hit points. They can go 50 feet. 18 strength, 14 dex, 14 con, 3 int, 10 whiz, 8 charisma. They have decent perception. They got decent stealth. They got dark vision up to 60 feet, and they got a passive perception of 10. They don't speak any languages, of course, because they're a cat. They have a keen smell. They have advantage on perception checks or rely on scent. For purposes of carrying, being ridden, or pulling, the carriage cat counts as one size larger, meaning that they basically have the same like pulling capacity as a draft animal. They can be ridden by medium creatures as well as small creatures, because hobgoblins there's a few hobgoblins around, and also like I imagine that like a human or like basically like any medium creature that's like not like a Goliath or anything that's like really massive like an orc could probably ride one of these and be fine, though they were bred to be ridden by goblins. My friend played an Archfey warlock. Her character was trans. She was kicked out of her village for being trans. She wandered in the woods sobbing, fell into a fairy ring. The Archfey found her and said, "Oh, darling, what's wrong? Give me your name," and gave her chosen name. The Archfey sighed and said, "Oh no, that one suits you too well. I'll take the moldering one you left in its rightful grave," and took her dead name. It is, oh, that's super sweet. I love that. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is so fucking cute. Oh my Christ. Oh. Love that. Love that so much. Carriage cats also have an ability I really like called Stalwart Companion that also will make you really sad. So don't mess with the carriage cats, or it'll make you sad. Carriage cats are bonded to a creature before they are named, usually to a Burrows goblin. When within 5 feet of their companion, they have advantage on attacks, saving throws, and may expend a reaction to redirect an attack from their companion to themselves. If the carriage cat's companion dies within its sight, it has disadvantage on all actions, and all attacks against it count as a critical hit. You monster. If a carriage, and of course we got Pounce, because it's a cat. If a carriage cat moves at least 20 feet straight towards a creature and then hits it with a claw attack on the same turn, the target must succeed on a DC 13 strength save or be knocked prone. If the target is prone, the carriage cat can make one bite attack against as a bonus action. Yes. You monster. And then, of course, you've got your standard, your bite attack, 1d10 plus 4, and your claw attack, 1d8 plus 4. Imagine some lich be like, "This is my collection of broken..." No! Bully! Do not bully the carriage cats. They are good noodles. Yeah, I do plan on having, like, more, like, I plan on having, like, a juvenile carriage cat, and, like, a war carriage cat, but, like, I need to figure out, like, more about them, like what I want to do. Like, I'm not super used to, like, making monsters, like, whole cloth. Like, a lot of times I'll just, like, yoink a creature and be like, "Ah, yes, I will reflavor this." Like, I've only made, like, a few, like, completely whole cloth creatures, and I'm still a little nervous about that. But, like, I think these ones are gonna work really well, and they seem like they're gonna be really good mounts, like riding cats. Though they are, of course, designed to be, like, pulling a cart or something first. I do really, really like all the dwarf stuff we came up with. This was supposed to be, like, theory crafting about carriage cats and the goblins, but instead it turned into the dwarves and the fae. Definitely had a really fun time, and I hope you all had a fun time too. I think that I am going to bounce for now, and probably share this VOD with the people for tonight's game, because I imagine this is going to have a lot of lore that they are probably going to be very interested in, and I'm going to have to write down a lot of it, so that's gonna be fun. But I am going to raid someone, and I will see the rest of you tomorrow, I think. Let me actually check my schedule, actually, before I say anything. I should probably actually look what my schedule says I'm fucking doing. Oh yeah, tomorrow I'm playing Cyberpunk, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. We're like making our way through the DLC, we're having a good time, and I really hope it doesn't end too soon. Holy shit. But yeah, I'm gonna write down all the shit that me and Lennon came up with, as well as like some shit that like I already kind of had, but like I didn't have written down. And I'm gonna send you guys off to Bappleseed, who is doing Pokemon Stadium 2, but with only rental Pokemon. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Apple just needs the mental fucking help at this point. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Give Apple a big hug, and, may Arceus have mercy on their soul. Just tell her that. Just, may Arceus have mercy upon your soul. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye, I love you.